All right, so today's lesson is 5.3 writing equations for functions. Our learning intention is that we're learning about functions, and our success criteria is we can describe functions. And today we're going to talk about describing functions by describing their slope and their y-intercept. And we're going to describe the equation that creates a function. So, just a quick review. Looking through here, we are going to review our slope intercept form because when we write functions, we write them in slope intercept form. So, with our y and our x, we keep those as variables. Remember, our equation is y equals mx plus b. The slope of the line is m, and the y intercept is b. And so, slope comes first, y intercept comes last. So, just a quick review of writing equations from graphs. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to calculate the slope. So, you find your change in y of your change in x. Remember, change in y is how far down you go. And we look through here just to make sure that we are going how far we're going down. We are going down by ones here. So, I'm going to just go through this dot to this dot because that is saying that I am going down one. Okay, let me see how far we go over. And this is going from -3 to -2. So, I am going up 2 or up 1. Okay. We end up with a slope of -1 over 1, which just ends up being a slope of -1. So I can start filling the equation right here, and I can put a -1 here. The next thing is to find the y-intercept, and this is where our line crosses the y-axis. I'm going to go ahead and circle this in blue. So the y-axis is right here. And when I'm looking for where it crosses the y-axis, I'll see that it crosses here at -7. So we can put either y equals -1x plus -7 or y equals -x minus 7 would be our equation. Either one would work. So what I want you to do now, go ahead and write the equation for this graph. So for this graph, our equation is y equals 4x minus 6. And what I did, again, just to review, I went through and I went from one dot to the other. And notice here that we want to pay attention that these are going up by 2. So I really went up to 4. So I'm going up 4. I'm going over 1. So that's what gave me my slope of 4. I look for my y-intercept. I look for it's where it's crossing the y-axis. It crosses the y-axis here at -6. So that's how I got my y-intercept in my equation of y equals 4x minus 6. Go ahead and try this one. All right, the equation for this one is y equals x plus 4. Now we remember this is just an invisible 1. Okay. Whenever we don't see a number there, that's just an invisible 1. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to count. These, notice that they go up by 4. So I'm going up 4. Okay. I am going over. This is also going up by 4. So I'm going over 4. I end up with 4 over 4 as my slope, which simplifies to that 1. Then I look and see where my y-intercept is. My y-intercept is right here. So it's going to be a positive 4. So I end up with plus 4. So the next one we're going to do is writing equations from tables. And when we're writing an equation from table, we're going to find the change in y divided by the change in x. That's our slope. We're going to figure out where x equals 0, and this is your y-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and just start filling in. I've got y is equal 2. Okay, let's go ahead and find our slope. So I'm going to just go from here to here, just because it's just as easy to go from here to anywhere. I can start with any one of these points, but I'm going to go ahead and start here. So going from -4 to 0, I am going up 4. This is my change in x. I'm only doing it because it's at the top. Going from -10 to -2, I am going up 8. Okay, I end up with 8 over 4, which ends up giving me a slope of 2x. So 2 is my slope. X is just a variable. Okay. Now I'm going to figure out where x equals 0. This is my y-intercept. So I look for where x equals 0. So it's right here, which means my y-intercept is -2. So my equation here is y equals 2x minus 2. Go ahead and try this one on your own. What is the equation? Okay, the equation for this one is 6x. So again, we went through and we found our slope. So we are saying, okay, this is, I'm going to start here. This is going up 5. That is a 5. Okay, this is going up 30, going from here to here. This is going up 30. Okay, when I do 30 over 5, I get 6. So 30 divided by 5, my change in y divided by change in x, it's going to be 6. My y-intercept, because it's at 0, 0, I don't have to put a plus or minus there because adding or subtracting 0 is going to make the same thing. On this one, notice on mine versus your table, I did change the last number because I want you to have that y-intercept there because we're going to get into what happens if you don't have the y-intercept shortly. So go ahead and use my data to calculate that. Make sure you change the last coordinate in your table on your paper. Okay, so for this one, we get y equals 3x minus 6. So again, I'm just going from here to here, and I am saying I am going up 3. Going from negative 15 to negative 6. I am going down, I'm going up. Going from 15 to 6, that is going to be 9. So 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3. My y-intercept here, I see where x equals 0, where y equals negative 6. So that's how I got my y-intercept. So now let's go into writing equations from coordinates if we have the slope. So what you do is basically you go through and if you have the slope, you're just going to multiply your x variable by the slope and see how much you add or subtract to get y. So here, what I'm going to do is this is my x. This is x. This is y. Okay, so I'm going to do x times y. If I have 1/3 of 6, I am going to have 2. So I'm going to say my slope. I've got y is equal to 1/3 x. And yes, that is a third, or 3. Okay, is going to be 2. So I'm saying to get from 2 to 14, I have to add. Okay. And to get from 2 to 14, I'm adding 12. So that's my equation because I'm saying 1/3 times, I go through, again, I multiply my slope times my x. When I do that, I get 2. Then I figure out, okay, how far do I have to add or subtract to get to 14? So I'm adding. I'm going to add 12 to get to 14. Go ahead and try this one. Okay, for this one, what you're going to do, again, you're going to go ahead and we got the equation of y equals negative 5x plus 3. So what I'm going to do is I first go through and I said I've got, this is my x coordinate, this is my y coordinate. So I am going to multiply my x coordinate by the slope. So I'm going to get negative 25. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how do I get from negative 25 to negative 22. And I know that I'm going to go up. And to get from negative 5 to negative 22, I'm going to go up 3. Don't get confused because you have the negatives there. Make sure that you know that you are going less negative, which means you're going up. So that's how I got a positive 3 and not a negative 3. Go ahead and try this one on your own. All right, for this one, we got the equation of y equals 2/5 x because again, what we're going to do is we go through and we say, okay, I'm going to multiply 2/5 times negative 15. When I do that, I get negative 6. So I'm saying to get from negative 6 to negative 6, that is an arrow. It looks like a weird arrow, but we're just going to go with it. To negative 6, I don't have to move at all. So I don't have to add anything to the end of that. That's why I only have y equals 2/5 x. So now if we don't have the slope. The only difference in what we just did is we have to calculate the slope and decide which set of coordinates we're using. So here we're going to go ahead and calculate the slope. So I'm going through and I'm saying, okay, to get from, let me go back. Okay, let's go ahead and try this again. Sorry. To get from -4 to +1, I am going up 5. So that's my change in x. To get from 0 to 5, I'm also going up 5. Okay, so I'm going to have 5 over 5, which means I'm going to have a slope of 1. So let's go ahead and just get that part in our equation right now. We're going to have 1x or just x. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just choose this set of coordinates just because. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going -4 times 1. -4 times 1 is -4. And I'm saying, okay, how do I get from -4 to 0? I am just adding 4. Okay. And that's it. So like I said, the only difference there is I had to find my slope first and then I choose a set of coordinates, but I'm going to follow the same steps. So go ahead and try this one on your own. Okay, for this equation, you should have got y equals 1/4 x minus 3. So again, first things first, let's go ahead and find our slope. So we're saying getting from 4 to -4, I am going down 8. To get from -2 to -4, I am going down 2. Now, because I have two negatives, remember, it makes a positive. -2 over 8 simplifies, or 2 over 8 simplifies to 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead. I tend to be one who chooses the first set of coordinates just because they're there. So I'm going to do 4 times 1/4, and I'm going to get 1. So I'm saying I'm moving from 1 to -2. Okay, if I'm moving 1 from -2, I'm going down 3. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. So our equation should be y equals 7x plus 26. And here's how I got that. I went, first of all, found my change in x and y. So to get from here to here, I went -4 to -3 is going up 1. And -2 to 5 is going up 7. So my change is 7 over 1 or just 7. So then I go through and I'm going to multiply. So I do -4 times 7 and I get -28. To get from -28 to -2, I'm going up 26. And that's how I got that there. So again, that's a -22. What I want you to do right now is go ahead. Make sure that you complete the must-dos for this section in the order they're given. So that means that you need to, after you finish filling out the notes for this guide, you're going to go through and you are going to work on the quizzes, the check for understanding for 5.3. And then after that, you'll work on the independent practice on formative for 5.3. And again, all of these are on Google Classroom.